Hello. My YouTube channel name is Enlightened Energy. My birth name is Nicole Jones. What is a name? Is it something they write on your tombstone on the day you die? Are you given a name in a contract that you sign? Not even you, your mother. Hands over. Have you ever really looked at the wording on your birth records? Maybe you should. Because at that moment, that parent loses all rights. And at that moment, anything can be done. Including collecting stem cells from the baby's umbilical. DNA not only from the mother, but that baby as well. Knowing the frequency of that baby, they can then introduce things into the lives of that baby to slowly degrade the frequency of that baby. I just got done with a ayahuasca retreat. It was not what I expected at all. In fact, I threw up everything pretty quickly after I drank it. So therefore the effects were not as strong as what a normal person would go into ayahuasca with. But interestingly enough, now that I think about it, I have been through a full energetic stigmata, which means I have cleansed all my karma clear back to my first incarnation as a Venetian on this planet. Not only cleanse the energy through the stigmata, also cleanse the body. Because each lifetime that I died, I acquired karma that manifested into my body a certain way. This lifetime, I got really lucky, right? I was fused in 2017, went to the doctors. I was hurting so bad I couldn't lay on the floor or get up. I had to have help. And I was a full-time horse trainer, competitor, breeder, for charity runner, WPRA card holder, you name it. 7 days a week. Hadn't had a vacation in 15 years. I dedicated my whole life to what I did, every second of it. Therefore, in 2017, when I went to the doctors to see if I could get any relief, they did x-rays and said that I was fused top to bottom with 2 bone spurs in my neck. And the only way that I would have any pain relief would be back and neck surgery. And I said no. Unbeknownst to me, in 2017, during a solar eclipse, I was riding my stallion above my house. I wanted to be up there during the solar eclipse. And what I did is I took my camera and I got down and looked at the camera, and I was leaning down, so my stallion came down and put his head over the top of mine. So I was getting like a picture of just a little bit of me with the horse's head and then the full sun as it was at full eclipse. And I was getting a video of it. So then when I went home, I watched the video. So I was able to see actually the DNA codes that were coming through at that time. And I'm telling you what, I'm a Leo, and it's solar eclipsed in Leo. And from that moment in 2017, my life took a complete, and I mean a complete turnaround. So much so by 2018 spring, I went through a traumatic divorce and moved from Idaho to Texas, bought a Texas ranch, 10 acres, and was going to move my profitable business down there because that is where I was selling horses and training horses, bringing horses up to train. Unbeknownst to me, my whole life was falling apart until the moment that I took the leap of faith. I had $1,500 in my account. I had at the time, because I did a whole bunch of selling, I had close to 20 of the nicest horses in the country. People wanted them, but paid big money for them. Sold one for 6 figures. But I could not sell anything until the moment that I committed on a house that was already committed to. And I just said, they asked me if I wanted to put Ernest Mignon, and I would be like the second person in case this one fell through, which I'm like, does that ever happen? So I did it. I mailed a $500 check out that day. I had $1,500 to my name. And I was putting a down payment on a house that I needed $50,000 down payment. Do the math. In my head was, that's $500. I can make that, I can make more than that and train in one horse. It happens, it happens. It's meant to be. Less than 45 minutes later, I got a phone call from a gal that wanted to know if I had my futurity horse for sale for $25,000 still. And I said, I think it was 20. It was around there. I said, yes, actually I do. She goes, well, if she vet checks clean, I'll take her. And I said, I'll do it tomorrow morning. Called my vet, got me in first thing. She vetted clean, had the money to me. Boom, just like that. I was like, I got $25,000. And then another horse that I had been trying to sell forever, I put up for auction, and boom, it went for like $15,000. Boom. I'm like, what the heck? And then next thing I know, another horse sold. Next thing I know, everything else is selling. Next thing I know, a month later, after I put that check in the mail, I am in the truck with my niece, with everything that I own loaded, with $80,000 in the bank. Now tell me that wasn't meant to be. So I went down with more money than I've had. Well, not more I had, but more money than I had in a long time in the bank, confidently knowing that I was going to own the world when I got down there. It was the top of my game. We were going to drive as long as we could because we were both just jacked up. She always wanted to apprentice under me, right? And I wanted to finally get down there and show them what I could really do. I had a young stallion. I'm getting ready for charity on my own. I raised him up and trained him myself, and I had a little help in the beginning because I was so busy, but he had to be away from home and learn, it was a good stallion thing, and she did a great job. And I took him from there, and I put him on barrels and, taught him everything and took him to places and hauled him, and he was such a wonderful stallion. By a streak of fling, which is one of the top sires in the country, out of a Dash to Fame mare that nobody could get a hold of or get bred. He was a rarity. He was like, whew. I was honored to have him, and he was such a baby. Such a big baby. I was so honored for me. I was going to have to send him away. I didn't want to send him away. I wanted to be the one who did it. And I manifested it. In fact, the year before, I told my mother when I was driving through the area, I said, if I ever get divorced, this is where I'm living. Guess where I was living a year later? Right there. 10-acre ranch, beautiful, beautiful arena, the best dirt, best sand in the whole place. On my way through Utah, I love lightning storms. And if you know anything about my past lives, you know who I am, you'll understand. So right about dark, I stopped I had a 6-horse trailer full of just my personal stuff. Stopped along the side of the road with my niece, and we're taking videos of the storm. Because I like to go through one by one and get frame by frame and get where the lightning strikes and get really awesome pictures. And so I got the videos, and I looked up, and it was just beautiful, clear sky with all the stars. I was like, wow, it's beautiful. But I noticed there was a ring of clouds. And what I mean by a ring, there was a small line of clouds with a big hole in the middle that there was like beautiful blue skies. And it was big too, beautiful blue skies. And then this ring of clouds around us, probably like a 30-mile diameter cloud, thin, round. I thought, how weird. And I went back and I started looking at the frames. And I noticed that every time that it lit up, there was no lightning. But what I really was like wowing about was like in the background, there were 3 funnel clouds, tornadoes on the ground in Utah. I took screenshots of it. I put it on YouTube, and I got back in the truck, started driving. It's 9:30 at night. It's like 55 out there driving. And all of a sudden I go into this trance-like state where I'm coherent, as in I'm driving my truck and trailer. But all of a sudden I just started talking, and I could not stop talking. The only way I can kind of compare it to is like throwing up. You know when you're throwing up, you cannot stop? I could not stop talking. And I was talking about key points in my life that triggered certain events. And when I would get to that key point, all of a sudden this little bubble would come up, imaginary bubble. I could sense it right here. And that was the problem. And I remember driving and going, poop, thrown away. That was it. And then all of a sudden I'd start talking again, and I'd get to another key point, and all of a sudden bubble would come by. Oh, there it is. Go away. And I kept doing this until I got to the age of 14, and then it stopped. And I was like, oh, there it is. Gone. And then it just stopped. And it was like, almost like you're dry heaving after, like there's nothing coming up. I did that. I'm like, nothing was coming up. Nothing, no words, no nothing. I was like, I think I'm done. She goes, my gosh, thank goodness you've been talking for 45 minutes straight. And I'm like, I don't even know what happened. And she goes, I think you went through a spiritual awakening. I'm like, what is that? I was just a cowgirl. I trained. If it had to do with horses, I wasn't interested. I had seen UFOs when I was a child, and I did have a neighbor that taught me about chakras and stones. But other than that, I didn't know anything, and I wasn't doing anything about, into that. I was just horses, obsessed with horses. So I became really good at it because I was obsessed with horses. But at that moment, years later, I find out that I am a spiritual walk-in. And at that moment that I had that trance while I was driving, the higher vibrational soul was coming in and meshing with my energy, and then my energy was leaving as this energy stepped in and took over the body. You do not know at that exact second, at least in my case, that you're not the person you were. Except at that moment, I remember once it was done, like this big load came off, and I was like footloose and fancy free, and I was like, because it was a traumatic event. And it was like, I felt the freest I've ever felt, and I felt so good. We just kept driving and driving and driving and driving and driving. And almost like we felt like we went into another dimension because things just looked differently. It was brighter. The sun was a different color. Things had more depth, more 3D, more pop, more more wow, more everything. So it's like at that moment I stepped into another dimension, but at that moment I did. Because that higher vibrational being came in, which is higher vibration, and boom, as soon as you connect, you're right there. So you automatically get into that vibration, which is higher. then it's up to the higher vibrational being to break away all of that stuff, all of that karma, hence the 5-year stigmata that I went through, to be able to break that old loose and then take over that body once all that is done on the energetic level first, because everything energetic manifests into the physical. So we have to clean the energy first. And then that means all the karma from the past, from your first incarnation. Then you have to clean the physical body. Because if you don't clean the physical body, but you clean the energy, this will re-manifest into the energy, and you'll keep creating that cycle. You have to clean the energy first. Then, as you're cleaning the energy, you're working on the physical body. When you're working on the physical body, you're clearing all the karma debt that's in your body that's connected to the energy of all your karma. All of your karma energy manifests into your body. So when you clean that body physically by getting rid of all the scar tissue and all the trauma in the body, setting it back to where, like a baby, you should be as flexible as a baby, right? I am now. And I've not had back and neck surgery. I'm fusion free and bone spur free. And this I have through a CAT scan that I had when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. This is after having a small heart attack in my house in 2020. What's that telling you? Slow down. I was working out 5 days a week. I had muscles you couldn't even believe. I looked like a guy from the back. My back muscles were so big. I never did back exercises. I let the Kundalini energy run every night, and it would get stuck in my back because that's where all my trauma was. And next thing I know, it's all bulging. So at that moment of the trance, I became a spiritual walk-in. The energy of the person that was incarnated was not strong enough to go through a full stigmata. Was not energetically strong enough because of all the karma it has acquired since the first Venetian life. That's why we connected at soul level prior, made contracts. At that moment, I stepped in. This is who I am now. The mountain calls me. It's funny because I used to laugh at the people that said, yeah, the mountain called me here, Mount Shasta. And after leaving, it named me. And then they all have their names, right? One of my friends that I met, she went by the name Abundance. And the other one, I would pronounce it incorrectly, so I'm not going to do it justice. But different names. And I kind of chuckled every time I would hear this, until one night the mountain called me Thunder. And I kind of chuckled like, thunder, that's not a girl's name. And then all of a sudden it made sense. It's like, oh, wow, that really would make sense, because if you knew who I was in my past life, then you would understand why the mountain calls me Thunder, because I am the thunder. My past life, I was the lightning, because I was born in a lightning storm. And I had a fascination with lightning. Obsession, more like it. Well, I mean, what do? You're in the 1800s, 1900s, you're an inventor, you're different, and you're also gay. What do you do with all that sexual energy? What do you do with all that time, right? You're repulsed by the women, period. You're repulsed by pretty much people, period, because you're so sensitive to energy because you're ADD, ADHD, blah, 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 super empathic, right? And in a feminine state, because I was killed as Nefertiti by the ancient Egyptian priests of Egypt, by tying me on a granite slab with my hands behind my back. And this knowledge nobody knows. This knowledge nobody has. Nefertiti is a mystery until now. How I was killed is the ancient Egyptian priest, because I was bringing the ancient sun worshipping ways, which is what I am bringing to you now through Dao Xing. It was so powerful, it was making us and our community powerful, and they did not like that. Therefore, they killed me. On a granite slab with my hands behind my back with our royal pair of breeding cobras, so it was personal. They took, okay, right here. This is the right side of me, which is masculine. This is the left side of me, which is feminine. They would take the feminine cobra, bring it over to the masculine side. The masculine cobra, bring it over to the feminine side. They would leave my crown chakra open because they wanted me to have all the knowledge in all my past lives. But they would start at your third eye, which would be right back here at the occipital bone. Well, number one, that paralyzes you. And number two, that also injects that, and then they have priests chanting and drumming and fires and doing all this spell work, getting that poison energy to go to that third eye and just encrust it into a poison and disintegrate it. Then they would move, I'm still aware at this time, they would move to the back of my neck. And what they would do is, as those cobras were biting the opposite, masculine or feminine on the masculine and feminine, they would stare at each other and get pissed at each other because they're being forced. And so that even their energy is being injected as they do this and inject their poison. And then they're doing all their chants. And then they're energetically drawing it right here to where the Adam's apple would be. Right here. And at this point, I start dying. Like, I'm dying. But they're bringing all that poison to here. That way, in future lives, everything that I spoke would be poison to people's ears. They didn't want to hear it. Then, once they were done with that, then they moved to the back of the neck, which is the throat chakra. On that spine, injecting poison into the spine to create disease of the spine, which manifested into everywhere there was a chakra, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacral, and root. They would go back to the coccyx. Yeah. All the way down the spine. Everywhere I had a fusion in my back. This was to, okay, in the Bible it talks about the purgatory after you die. Purgatory is energetically, your energy is made to stay on this planet for 3 days while your body is being prepared for death. The purpose of this is you can energetically infuse with anybody's energy at that moment. And you can see how you played a part in their life by their eyes. That way you become the judge, the jury, all of it. God energy does not judge anything. God is just a ball of energy of consciousness, like a big supercomputer taking in information and always growing. We're the ones that have the experiences with the emotion and feelings to be able to input into God what God needs to change to evolutionize. Therefore, by damaging me is Nefertiti. Plus, when they were done, guess what they did with me? Cut me in half, quartered me, took me in separate directions to keep my energy always fragmented as far away as possible. Then degraded me. And then, after I was dead, made it punishable by death, which there was a lot of others that had the same things that happened to me done to them. If you're of anybody of higher knowledge, you were done and killed that way. And then anybody who worshipped the sun and not the other multiple gods was punishable by death, and they destroyed as much of the knowledge as possible. I have come back many times delivering the same message over and over and over, in a language that I think is digestible for whatever the civilization that I live in at the moment. And now that the world is understanding energy, I can finally, after going through all of those lives and experiencing all of those experiences, understand energy and how it affects us on a daily, and I mean by the second, energetic wise. If you know anything about past lives, you have one life that you can master. The next life is tougher. The next life you have the ability to master. The next life is tougher. This is just how it is. It keeps you growing as a soul, growing as God. So when I say my past life was Nikola Tesla, I do not mean my past life. I mean my past life that I had a chance to master. When I was killed because I manifested it, which is a karmic death, you have to pay for. Therefore, I reincarnated into having a relationship with my neighbor at the time in Texas. He was the one I had the relationship with. We were 16 and died in a car crash playing chicken. That was our short, icky life. Therefore, I was born in 1973. And I can master this life, which this lifetime I am to be an ascended master. I have all the knowledge that I have through all lives, clear back to my first Venusian life here, which will predate anything we have on this planet for information, which makes me highly valuable. Am I worried about that? Absolutely not. Because I had to go through a energetic, spiritual stigmata to understand that anything we worry about, we manifest into our lives. And if we die of that, that's a karmic death that we have to come back and pay for. This is a planet of free will. You have the free will to say, I do not worry about a thing. Because my mind lives into a mental world that controls energy. Therefore, if my mind is worrying about anything, worry is coming into my reality that I'm going to experience. People can manifest whatever they want in their lives. I manifested cancer because I was suicidal from the time I was 16 on, clear through I was 49. After you tell yourself you want to kill yourself so many times, your body says, okay, I'm manifesting cancer. Or it's in your energetic DNA that you were to get cancer. But it's up to you to know that you have the free will to unmanifest it and remanifest anything you want at any given second. So you can say no because we live by the law of free will at any time and say, I do not accept this reality a second longer. I'm not going to choose to change on Monday. I'm not going to choose to change on January 1st or an energetic portal day. I'm going to choose to change right now. And at that moment, you make that decision, you jump into another complete dimension. It looks exactly the same. The only thing different is what comes to you. Because you've raised a vibration, your thoughts and your energy are going to be higher, and higher vibrational things will come to you. It won't look no different except your experiences in that reality. Because we live in a mental world. Look it up. The first law of the universe, the law of mental. What you think controls energy into matter, and that becomes your physical reality. So therefore, when I say I was Tesla in my past life, technically the last past life that I could master, I was Tesla. I mastered energy in the physical and was learning how to master energy in the etherical when I passed and was killed and murdered. And then I reincarnated and died when I was 16, madly in love with my soulmate, Eddie from Texas. And we had visions together of us together. I had a vision of me with this blonde hair pulled back and a poodle skirt, and him in black leather and slick hair, and we're like, I'm just teasing him. It was just such a, and he was in the vision with me. It was such a unique experience. I didn't know you could have visions together with people. So that was my past life with him, and then I was born in 73. Now, if you look at my birth chart, you'll also understand I have the finger of God in me, pointing straight up to be the oracle, and Ascended Master is written all over my birth chart. I'm a life path 11. My south node is Cancer. My last life that I've been stuck in is Cancer. Look up Nikola Tesla. He was born July 10th during a lightning storm. July 10th, I was born August 1st. As a Leo. I've tried to debunk it many times, and every time I try to debunk it, it always comes up that I'm incorrect. So I'll just accept it and know that this is who I am. I have been blocked from the energy of what I did as Tesla. What I seen was the pain and suffering that I was as Tesla. I never seen anything else. And Spirit keeps me blocked from that energy. That way I do not worry about anybody coming after me, because I'm being blocked from that knowledge. But I have the essence of the knowledge inside of me, regurgitating it up into a way that we can understand it now through energy. Like spitting on the ground. Yes, you're giving it to Mother Gaia, she can reincarnate it and blah, blah, blah. But energetically speaking, everything that comes out of us, sweat, tears, nostrils, anything comes out of our mouth, anything comes out of other orifices in our body, is all detoxing energy that you've transmuted, that you need to get rid of. Therefore, anything that comes out is toxic energy. Now, by the law of attraction, whatever you give out energetically, you get back energetically in your reality. Therefore, this is why if you look back in biblical times, if somebody spit on you, it was a curse. It was also a curse for them too, but it's a curse because it's energetically toxic. Therefore, you're getting back the same energy in your life just by spitting on the ground. Am I telling you to swallow it? Absolutely not. You need to get rid of that. I carry a cloth hanky with me wherever I go. If I have something that needs to come up, it comes out. And instead of saying bless, which I used to, now that I understand energy and how the Illuminati works into our filtration of our school system and how we speak, bless, what does it happen? What's the beginning of it? Be. And then you have the word less. They be less. They sneak things on you like that. Every time you say bless, you're be-lessing yourself. It took me a while to finally understand the power of love, and when I did, and I added that to that, Instead of saying bless, I say love. Energetically, it was instantly cleared. So therefore now, if I spit on the ground, I say love. Blow my nose, I say love. Cough into it, I say love. When I'm done with these, I can carry 2 or 3 of these with me if I want to, put them in my purse, wash them, hang them out to dry. They're dry in 5 minutes. Reuse them. You use no paper products. This right here alone, if everybody carried a hanky, I have bags of them here. I give them to people all the time. These are just old hankies that people do not want anymore because grandmas and old aunts used to use them and nobody uses them anymore. People are selling these on eBay. Bags of them. Inexpensive. You can make your own. If you make your own, make sure they have 100% cotton, organic. Because the fabric nowadays is killing us. The synthetics that we wear, the rayon, the mixtures, everything like that, has a low frequency of 15. Our bodies vibrate with a vibration of 100. Organic cotton vibrates with a vibration of 100. And you add, if you have wool, that vibrates with a vibration of 5,000, which brings the body into more health. Now, if you have linen, you mix it, vibrates with 5,000 also, but when you combine the two, it cancels it out and actually makes it bad for the body. This is why the Bible talks about not mixing the fabrics. Look it up in the Bible. It says, do not mix these fabrics. This is why, because energetically, it cancels them out and makes it toxic. This is why the clothes that we have on now are killing our vibration. Because when you put clothes on that are restrictive, like tight pants, tight shirts, suck everything up, maybe make me look like a Barbie, guess what? For one, you lose chi flow in your body, which that starts shutting the body down. Then you have fabrics on the body that are killing the body, which is slowly shutting the body down. This is why they would wear sheets for full flow of energy, which makes them more powerful, energetically speaking. Then you take all of the hyphenated words, like I can't go tonight, I can't, cannot, taking those 2 words and making 1 word out of it. For one, takes the power away of the 2 words, which lessens the power of this word. Then you take an abbreviation, you put it in there, which separates it, which makes it never to come together, which makes you energetically never to come together. This is how they infused us to speak quickly. Why? Because they want you to always be thinking of the end goal as a competition. I got to get there faster. I got to get there faster. I got to get this to get this, to get this, to get this, to get this, to get this. Look at a tombstone. You have a day you were born, the day you died, and a little dash in between. It's not about this and it's not about that. It's about this right here. If you're so intrigued to get to the end goal, you miss all the wonderful things that could have actually taken you to that end goal at the perfect time, instead of your way of thinking the end goal should be, which is being completely subconsciously bombarded by things to make you feel less than. If you want to get down to it, in over 200,000 years ago, the Anunnaki changed our DNA and added what is called a worship gene. You can look this up. This is fact. Our DNA was changed in over 200,000 years ago with that DNA of worship, that we were less than. They wanted us to think we were less than, so we would manifest things that made us feel less than, and that's why we're in the society that we're in now. Cancer being the #1 killer of everybody, right? And now, if they can't get you with the cancer, guess what? They're going to give you those shots and try to kill off you that. Every time you get one of those shots, it has this little protein that goes to work in your system that fires up another protein that your body is like, holy cow, and it goes right into sickness and disease and shock systems, heart attacks and people, all these things. Not saying that it's going to happen to you. You might be the one out of many that you're immune to that bullshit, because our bodies evolve. There are people out there that have gotten the shot that you're going to be fine. You're one of God's chosen ones. But if you believe the bullshit that they're feeding you and you start worrying about that happening to you, guess what? Free will is a bitch sometimes. Because then you manifest that into your lives and you free willy call yourself in a heart attack or a brain aneurysm or something happening. I'm not going to beg and I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to say, do the math. You have free will every moment. You have control of your mind. Your mind controls your cells. If your mind tells your cells that you are immune to that bullshit, guess what? Whatever you say bounces off of you and sticks to them. Boom. As Dolores Cannon likes to say, split. Ding. They can have their 3D earth and all their 3D people that they can control, like the satanic all bullshit, and think that blah 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 blah, and create they're the ones being allowed to be controlled like puppets. This one splits off. All of a sudden, cash becomes more of a commodity. States will start suing the FDA, where they have to have a complete new change and program to where it has to, if it's organic, it has to go through a process, yes. But there are not allowed the chemicals and the GMO and anything genetically modified will be banned. That's the reality that you are going to go into. It's going to look the same, but things are going to start changing in a different direction because you are manifesting it. Isn't that exciting? You are manifesting it. You are taking control of your life. You are the God of your reality. Do not let them control you anymore. Take control of your life right now, this second, and know that you create everything that comes into your reality. And if your reality is scared and worried and everything else, then you're buying into their bullshit. This does not just go back to the Illuminati. It goes back to the Catholic Vatican. That Vatican goes to the ancient Egyptian priests. The ancient Egyptian priests go to the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki could not enslave us physically anymore because the Galactic Federation came in and said, no more. We're changing this planet to the planet of free will. We give them free will to say no or yes to anything and let them create their own reality. You cannot enslave them physically anymore. Well, with everything, there's always a loophole, right? You cannot control them physically, but you can do things around them to get them to control mentally how they think. Fluoride in your toothpaste. Have you really researched fluoride? It's a toxic waste they could not get rid of. So what do? They go, here's enough money, FDA. Tell them it's good for their teeth. Tell them it's blah, 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 blah. And we're going to change it, and we're going to get rid of all this stuff because we cannot get rid of it. The earth it's that toxic. So they mixed it in with everything, right? And the people are like, okay. I remember as a child in Amnaha, Oregon, in the school, they came in to had a meeting about it and then made us do fluoride washes after lunch every day. What does fluoride do? It calcifies the pineal gland. That way it dumbs you down and slowly toxifies your body. They're just now seeing this. The FDA is not the FDA. The FDA is controlled by the people that own the medical and the pharma, the people that own the movie industry. They're they go above the Rothschilds. They're the Anunnaki descendants. And when I'm talking the original Anunnaki descendants, they have the secrets. And they have the only secrets. That's why they are so powerful. Well, guess what? I go beyond the Anunnaki. Therefore, when I say I have the secrets that nobody else does, that is what I mean. What I am bringing back is the original. Before, I guess you would call it the heaven on earth, Adam and Eve. Before we were modified, before things were changed. When our innocence was renewed and restored. And that feeling creates heaven on earth. And that is what I'm here to teach. I could go on and on about the stories of my past and why you think you should know that to be able to believe me. But I truly understand, and I know now that the ones that are meant to see this are meant to see this. And this will waken an ancient knowledge within you to allow you to be able to waken up the ancient knowledge within yourself. So therefore you become your own God of your own reality. That is what I'm here to do with this message today. Is to awaken you up, not to who I am. And you should never think anything but as an equal to me. Because if you're seeing this, you are an equal to me. I am just waking you up from your slumber. If you are seeing this, you are a powerful being like me and you need to wake it up from your slumber. Right? Are you ready? Can you feel it? It may feel odd and strange, but it feels right, right? You know it. And if you don't quite understand it, watch it again. And the more times you watch it, the more you're going to go, wow, yeah, I get it. And the more you're going to awaken up your knowledge of your own DNA, so then you can clean your own lineage, clear back to your first life, and you can walk amongst the 1% of us that are living that karma-free day every day. Because not only have you cleansed the karma, you're cleansing your physical body, and you're cleansing the energy that you're putting out, which is cleansing the energy that's coming back to you in your physical reality, which makes you a God. And if I have done that today for you, my lovely souls, my soul tribe, there are many of you, and we're all special, and we're all equal in our own ways, but everybody brings a new flavor. I have my experiences that I'm bringing to you. Through my own experiences, this is what I'm going to bring to you. And each one of you are going to have your own experiences. That's what you're going to bring to the world. And this is what we need for the world right now, is everybody to step into their own experiences and bring that authentic you. Because that authentic you is what the world needs right now, because we need to learn how to feel again. They have numbed us for too long. And we, super empaths of the world, are meant to show. Not by doing all these radical body things to our body. It's beyond that. Once you do this work, and it's so easy, all you got to do is step into it. Just by watching this video, I have cleansed your energy and allowed you an easier job to do it. Now all you got to do is, I've already unzipped your suit. All you got to do is step out of it. That's all you have to do, and you're in a new reality. It looks identical. Everything looks the same, but you will have different experiences. I guarantee you 1,000,000,000%. Every single person will have better experience because of this. Because once you slipped out of that suit, you're not going to put it back on. I've just taken it and flushed it. And I flushed it down the toilet. It is gone. And if you go back and you look at that, and there might be a little floater in there, what are you going to do? You have a choice. Are you going to go back and play with that past suit turd and go, oh, this looks really good. It feels normal. It feels comfortable to be in this past. Or are you going to walk over and you're going to say, oh, flush, and walk away? Every moment you're given a choice and an opportunity to change your mind, because you control your energy. You control your mind. You control your mouth. And when you get to going too fast, your ego controls you. And your ego is controlled by the Anunnaki, ancient Egyptian priests, Vatican, Illuminati, puppets, your brain. Cut the cord. Get rid of it. Step into a new reality. That's all you got to do. And then everything just starts magically working out for you, like it does for me every day. Ever since I learned how to master my mind, it started the end of May. Every day has been one miracle after another miracle after another miracle. And every day I end thinking it's the best day of my life. The next day I end thinking it's the best day of my life. And I don't know how it can top it ever. But I just do whatever I intuitively feel I should be doing. And I'm led into the most amazing experiences every day. I have a plan of what I'm going to be doing. But if the plan deviates in any way, I do not let my emotions control the situation. I go, if the plan deviated, what am I supposed to learn in this situation? It gives you a completely different objective when you're dealing with any situation in your life, even a quick traumatic car accident. What am I learning from this experience at this moment? Take that step back and tell that to yourself. That will take you out of your emotions into your mental body and say, okay, I am controlling my reality at this moment. I am not panicking because my physical body's right here looking at what's going on. I'm right here. What is the best course of action for me to be able to, for one, save myself? Because without myself, I cannot save anybody else. What's going to put me in the best situation to be in this position, to be at the highest I am at this moment? Okay, I've got it. I do it. Now, from there, I get those vibrations of whatever I'm on. If I would have picked this vibration of panic and all this is going to come to me, I step back for a split second, a second, 3 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, a week. If it's a message, sometimes a 2 weeks, whatever, until I have decided what emotion should I step into to get my desired result that I want. If I want this, and I get a desired result of this, this is what I'm going to get. Why am I pissed at myself? Because I did it and brought it into my reality. Take a step back, get out of your emotions until you finally reach the point of, okay, this is what I want right here. So what am I going to choose to do in this situation now? My next step forward is going to be what I'm going to choose. What am I going to choose is going to take me there. Okay, this is what I'm going to choose. Leap of faith, and then boom. It works 1,000,000,000% of the time. I am living proof. I have never been more abundant in my life. I have multiple streams of income. I'm living the life of my dreams. I have let go of all worries, cares, concerns, and given up to spirit. Spirit to me is God included, because God is everything. If it wasn't for God, we'd all blink out. We'd all blink out. But just everything. Because it's not on the tombstone from when you were born to when you died. This is where they want you to be, here, rushing to get here. They want you to rush to get here. You know, rush to get out of high school, rush to get out of college, rush to get that job, rush to get retired, rush to, like, you know. It's this dot in between that matters. If you do not make what matters the most matter at the moment, nothing's going to matter the most in the future. It's the easiest way I can digest it. I'll say it again. If you do not make what matters the most matter in this moment, it will not manifest into future things. That's not going to matter at all. It's going to keep you searching, keep you thinking, keep you wanting more, keep you thinking you have to have more. Because they think, oh, the world's going to do this and the world's going to do that, so I need to accumulate all this, accumulate. Because they are subliminally, through movies, through music, through TV Simpsons. This is why people are like, oh, I don't know why the Simpsons, how did they predict all this stuff? Why? Because they planted the seeds in the past and you are manifesting it into the future. That's why everything when you turn on the news is always bad, because they want you to manifest their agenda. If you're programmed nonstop with their agenda, guess what you manifest? Their agenda. You are doing it for them. You are God. You have free will. Walk away now. I've done the hard work for you. All you got to do is step out of that suit and be gone. You're a brand new you. And if you like this, which I know you do, watch it more than once. At least to the end, to get that fire back in you. Get that fire back in you. Get that fire back in you. Light that match. I'm the fire. I'm the fire lighting your match. Waking you up. Waking you up. Waking you up. Can you feel it? You have changed just by watching this video, haven't you? And I just caught myself abbreviating words. So what I'm going to do is go cancel, clear, delete, because I'm not going to manifest that. Because I caught myself. I'm going to pat myself on the back for catching myself. Instead of saying have not, I'm just going to say, you feel good. Right? Yes. Keep that mind knowing that that's the dimension you're on at this moment. I had something happen to me yesterday, blew my mind. Oh my gosh. It's taken me like almost a day to process this. So after my retreat, I took and slept for 2 days because we did a lot of body work, got something on, stretched this part of my lower back that's been jammed since I was 14. I got all the scar tissue, the fusions away, but I needed somebody to really get it, and they got it. And so a lot of body work, so I was exhausted mentally and physically and energetically. So I just slept for 2 days. And so finally I needed to go to get some groceries. I'm 12 miles from Mount Shasta. There's nothing in McLeod. Drove to Mount Shasta. And I was still a little bit, recuperating energy-wise. This guy gets in front of me. But normally I'd be like, come on. You're doing 50, 55, and a 65, right? But I was just like, the more I just kind of got behind him at a decent, 5-car length, just the more I relaxed. And the more it was like, oh. So I could actually watch the scenery. So he followed, I was like most of the way. And interestingly enough, it just let me enjoy my trip more. And nobody was crowding me. It was really nice. I was like, I'm not stressing about getting there. I got somebody in front of me that's like taking all the heat. If anybody wants to know, it's him up there. I'm just chilling right here. I'm comfortable. And the person behind me was doing the same thing. 5 length cars away, just chilling. And the person behind me the same way. Nobody was crowded. And I was like, this is kind of nice. So then I got to I pulled onto the interstate, went on the interstate for, I don't know, maybe a mile or two, and then got off. And I've been listening to Pandora. And I was just, in this like, everything was just like, and I was so relaxed. And I came off into the turn on the interstate to get off and go into the Mount Shasta where the grocery store and what I needed was. And before the stop sign, and probably 200 yards after I got off the highway, my music stopped, but did not. It changed into this blah, 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 just this music of this guy that's like singing, which I'm in like this zone of, just like relaxed, right? But all of a sudden it was just like this guy's like singing, and like, I was like, I don't know what he's saying. And I felt this, and I'm like, what the? And I was like, how do I look, and my screen on my truck says 444 sulflagal frequency. And it said it was playing. And I'm like, that's not, and I'm pushing pause and it will not pause. And I'm like, it won't turn down. And I finally hit the mute button, and it kept playing after I hit the mute button for like 10 seconds until I actually pulled into the stop sign. And when I got to the stop sign, it muted, and I'm like almost traumatized. I'm like freaking in this just, ooh, beautiful drive. Everything is going perfect, to a wall of, what the fuck just happened? And I'm like, luckily the grocery store was like right off to the right, so I take a right, and I'm like, I'm not touching nothing. And I find, and just as I get there, this guy pulls out at the grocery store right on the front, right? And I'm like, my long bed truck, that's a perfect parking spot. I'm like, I'll just ease right in there. I was like, that was perfect. Yeah, it was perfect. If I would have been a little more of a hurry, I would have missed it. Interestingly enough, when I stopped the truck, I had a little conversation with Spirit. What TF just happened? Because I'm still in a little shock, and I'm still a little traumatized by the event. I do not know how to process what just happened. Can you please fill in the blanks for me? Literally, my heart's like, and my energy is like all over the place, and I'm like, where am I at? What am I doing? This looks familiar. Okay, there's a perk. Okay, everything's working out for me. I'll just park right here. What just happened, Spirit? That's kind of how I was. Of course, Spirit steps in, and I channel through I can either do it through my head, or I can channel it through my speech, which I like speaking because I feel like I'm speaking to somebody, right? It makes it more personal. So I just let Spirit speak through me. So if it looks like I'm talking on the phone, I'm probably just talking to Spirit. It just makes me, if I'm like, blah, 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 I'm more likely there's nobody on the phone. I'm just talking to Spirit. Hey, makes it easier, right? So, and really, if you just have a little thing in your ear, which I don't not like to, because that frequency goes right to your brain and does things to your body, and you shouldn't do that anyway. But I was like, what happened? Well, since I decided to do what I did, and since I got into an energy of flow, I was in a vibration of flow all the way to the exit, where between the exit and the stop sign, there was an interdimensional portal that I went through. That if I would have been in the energy of just like, this feels so good, everything's just so easy in life, that energy of being so open to everything would have been like, you know, and it would have scared me and possibly rendered me unconscious. It was that strong. So therefore, by giving me an adrenaline rush a split second prior to entering that wormhole, interdimensional portal that I went through at that moment, because I was in the right vibrational frequency, you see how things work. I was in the right vibrational frequency to match. Anybody else would have not had the same effect. But because I was on the interdimensional frequency at that moment, because I was in the flow, I flowed right into the little, we'll just call it a portal, wormhole, whatever you want to call it, and was taken into the same reality, but in a way different energy. So by turning on the 444 Solflagel to put me in that state, I was jolted instantly by a man. Almost, it was like a combination of pop and rock. Not rock, but kind of like, even like almost like rock, heavy metal, like a combination of heavy metal and rock and pop at the same time. And it was like, I've never heard the song. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know who was singing it. All I was knowing is I was just like, I was shocked at that moment. And I felt a boom. But still I was in that like shocked moment of like, what do I do? I'm luckily going slow as 25 miles an hour, but I was like, almost like incoherent for like a split second. I remember that. It was almost like I was incoherent. I was like, then I looked down because I'm like, I want to tone down the noise because it was so loud. I was like, whoa. And so I had to consciously look for the dial, you know, and it was like, looks like it's still playing. I don't understand why it's still playing. It's not playing 444. Just turn it down. It's not working. Just turn it off. And then when I seen it took like another 10 seconds for it to actually stop, I was like, snapped into reality like that, like, whoa. Why is it not turning off? And that kind of snapped me back into reality at that moment. But there was a time that I went from being like almost like incoherent for like a split second to oh yeah, what am I gonna do? I just want quiet to think for a second. What do I have to do to get that shut up off? And then once I was like, instead of going like, okay, what just happened? I was like, whoa, it's still playing. And that thought brought me into that mental state of now. And it was like, what's going on? And that brought me into a conscious now state to be able to get me to where that parking spot was perfect. As they were pulling out, I flowed right in. I didn't have to hit the brakes. I didn't have to nothing. It was just like, up there it was. And then my experience at the grocery store was like amazing. And then I got what I needed. I was like, okay, well, actually I went to the hardware store because the hardware store is right next to the grocery store. So I went to the hardware store, parked, and it was like, right. I was like, I didn't have to park anywhere to walk. I just parked at the front of the door because that person pulled out, I pulled in, and I had that moment of like, wow. And so when I went in, I got exactly what I want at a great price. And then from there, I just drove across the parking lot to where the grocery store is, got a front parking spot right there. As they were pulling out, I pulled in. I was like, wow. And then was talking to Spirit again, giving thanks for everything. And then had a wonderful grocery experience. And then got in my truck and had a wonderful experience when I went home. And then when I got home, I had a wonderful experience with my dog. And it was just been like, it's like a total different reality. It was the most unique. I'm not going to say, because I've had a lot of experiences the last 5 years. I think that one's probably going to top it. Spirit always likes to top things with me because I'm an adrenaline junkie. It's just who I am. It's who we all are in a way, but I think that topped my experiences of wow factor, was because the fact that I just felt that boom in my body, and then it was like the noise, and then a split second boom, and then it was like incoherent here, there, and then it was like here. That was, yeah, it probably tops them all. All right, well, it was lovely talking to you, and I'm looking forward to hearing all of your wonderful comments. And if you have experiences to share, please share them in the comments. I would love to hear them, because if you're my soul tribe, I'm sure you have wonderful experiences to share that are going to help heal the world also, beside me. All I ask for in return for energy, that I've just given you all of the energy that I have to be able to give you into a new understanding, to break you into a new world, to break you into a new reality. I have given you everything I have. The only thing I ask for in return is to help me get this YouTube channel poppin'. I've been suppressed by them for way too long, and it's now time to get this message out, because the more we can get it out, the more we can change this world like that. All you have to do is like it, comment, and share it. That's it. It gets me out of this algorithm that nobody can find me at. And once you do that and you do your part, you're giving me that energy back. That feeds me energy, and I can give you more energy. That's all it's all about. That's what it's all about. It's not about money exchange. It's about energy exchange. Do it from the heart. Not from the ego thinking you're going to get something back, but through the heart of giving. Because by me giving to you, you give back to me, which helps me give back to the world. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to more of these to come. Have a wonderful, abundant, lovely day.